afternoon, dear friends. I hope you've noticed that our channel is experiencing a rebirth. I'm starting to regularly host segments dedicated to a problem that I know well. This is cardiology. That's the field. Been working in my entire professional life. We hope to have a whole series of new segments that will be fascinating, intriguing, and engaging to everyone, especially our respected and valued patients. My personal stories, some interesting and personal events from medical practice and just everyday life will be shared for your attention. Don't forget what's really important for each of us. There will be a lot of interesting things. Give it a thumbs up and of course make sure to watch this video all the way to the end. I will be damn pleased. What do a subway vestibule and the heart of each of us have in common? What do the screw of a working icebreaker, cutting through the ice, and the heart of each of us have in common? What do the escalator in the subway that you step on, maybe several times a day, going up and down, and the heart of each of us have in common? What do a hydroelectric power station and the heart of each of us have in common? Have you ever thought about this? Friends, let's try to break down the really complex and intricate mechanisms behind circulation and the heart's own functioning in a way that indeed uses simple concepts that might be familiar to each of you. Rotary pump. First, what is such a pump for? It exists, essentially, as you might guess, to pump substantial volumes of liquid. That's one. The second thing you need in this device, which will be a key element in its operation, is the walls of this device. You need a chamber, usually fixed in volume and size, with rigid walls. Third, inside this chamber there is a mechanism that resembles perhaps a screw, resembling a rotor. It can consist of petals that look like valves, which, when they operate, will reduce the working space of the chamber, creating pressure and thus generating a pushing force that ultimately ensures the pumping of blood through this device. But what if the walls of the chamber are movable and can't expand or contract? In that case, you probably don't need a working mechanism. Inside this chamber, the chamber itself with its powerful movable walls will create internal pressure, thus providing the pushing force and the operation of the pump, and the implementation of its functions and the movement forward. This mechanism is actually the basis for the functioning of the left ventricle of the heart. Moreover, the more the chamber fills, the more efficient and powerful the contraction of the left ventricle will be. This is the key law that underlies the fundamental characteristic of the myocardium called contractility. The law is named after its authors, Ernest Henry Starling and Otto Frank, who were both prominent physiologists. The Frank-Starling Law, also known as the Frank-Starling mechanism, describes the relationship between the volume of blood filling the heart and the force of contraction. Once again, the more the chamber fills with blood, the more powerful, efficient, and ultimately beneficial the work being done by the heart will be. This is also, by the way, a rotary pump. The artificial circulation device is working, simulating the left ventricle of the heart. For the pump to work effectively, the medium needs to be non-abrasive, not scratching its inner surface. The blood is just perfect. For such a characteristic, the liquid medium must not contain any inclusions in any way whatsoever. And yet, if there are absolutely heterogeneous inclusions in this blood, like clots, the pump will stop at all. When will the rotary pump stop? When there is no inflow of fluid. If there is no inflow, the pump won't be able to perform its function. It simply won't have anything to pump. In such cases, a mechanism for continuous fluid supply must be implemented, or otherwise known as the continuous flow pump. And in fact, the heart consists of a sequence of two different pumps, the rotary pump and the continuous flow mechanism. What is the continuous flow mechanism similar to? Each of you enters the subway and first of all you find yourself in the vestibule. This is de facto a mechanism that mimics a continuous flow pump. In the case of the subway, it's also a constantly exhausting pump for the outgoing flow of passengers. You come into the theater and first of all you see the vestibule. This is also a kind of continuous flow mechanism, which will later ensure the uninterrupted passage for you into the room. What exactly are these vestibules specifically for? They are for better and more efficient throughput of the subsequent rotary mechanism. What exactly are the atria in the heart specifically for? In order to function effectively, to make the left ventricle work more efficiently. The key element in the operation of the two sequential pumps is synchronization. It's just as important as the desire to inhale and exhale. Inhale slowly and exhale deeply. Inhale slowly, exhale deeply. That's how the two synchronous pumps work. One provides a constant flow. This process is essential for the system. The second is the implementation of the effector, the pushing force from the left ventricle of the heart. These mechanisms constantly in front of your eyes. The athlete who carefully takes the barbell slowly tenses up and with great effort lifts and pushes it above himself. Baseball player, the pitcher who winds up, grosok. The guitarist who each time first takes a deep breath, then exhales with a terrible scream, delivering a strike. The stronger the wind-up, the stronger the effective pushing force. The more powerful and fuller the filling of the left ventricle, the more productive, efficient, and stronger the pushing force of the left ventricle. Let's sum it up, friends. We're all like pumps. Inside each of us, there's a pump. This pump consists of two components. One is a constant inflow of water, the other is a rotary flow. The work of this pump is completely synchronized. It tunes itself, self-tunes. When we sleep, when we're awake, when we run, when we're anxious. Every time there's this fine synchronization, if that synchronization is off, the pump won't work effectively, and we take an inhale and exhale. Our heart, implementing both of these mechanisms, takes its inhale and effective exhale in the form of a pushing force. Nature breathes. Inhale, exhale. The planet breathes. Inhale, exhale. The universe breathes and pulses. Inhale, exhale. What happens if we start losing the effective function of one of these components, or the synchronization between these two components in any possible way? I'll tell you a bit more about this next time.